All right, we're just going without streaming because it won't connect.
Okay, no worries.
Who's that coming down the track? Who's that coming down the track? It's a mean machine running black. It's a mean machine running black. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Ain't nothing finer in the land. And a drunk obnoxious Georgia fan. And a drunk obnoxious Georgia fan. Go no!
What's up, y'all? This is John and Mike back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. We are not live on Millions tonight. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. But before we get into anything, I do want to remind you guys about the new merch. We put up some hats, an extra t-shirt, and we are working on some other stuff coming here soon. Tonight we are talking about the Dylan Raiola Saga. It's probably the best way to put that. A couple transfer portal updates and a little bowl preview for this weekend's games. Not too many big matchups this weekend, but we are going to hit on a few of them. But before we get to that, how's your week and what are you drinking?
I just got some water. Week's going kind of flying by faster than I would think it would. The week prior to vacation. Today we were able to pull up the Savannah Christian state championship game and watched it the last like 2 hours of school. So that, I mean, you could say it's about they support theirs. So that
Who
was
won?
fun to. Savannah Christian got their ass kicked.
Oh, that's sad.
I think they played Cedar Grove. It's a school, but Cedar Grove has a junior running back that's committed to Georgia that went off for like 230. So like there's
Okay.
some dogs that the kid that went to my school here, he's the starting defensive end as a freshman for Savannah Christian. He had at least a half a sack
Oh, there you go.
first drop. So I mean, got got some players, man. So what you?
Good, good. No, honestly, my week's actually going by a little bit faster than I thought it would too, especially since I have surgery on Monday. I kind of figured this week would drive by or drag by. Um, but because I'm a little bit of a piece of shit and completely lost track of time at putting league tonight, I don't have anything to drink. I walked in the door and got right in the office to record. So let's go ahead and jump into the Dylan Raiola craziness that's happened. So
Oh, wait, before we do that,
go ahead.
all right.
What?
So we are recording.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay. I just want to make sure.
yeah. I mean, it says we're recording.
Oh, okay. All right.
I hope so. All
That's
right.
all good.
If we're not recording, nobody can hear this, but there's just not going to be a midweek episode.
Yeah.
Um,
The lost tapes. Anyway.
the Dylan Raiola. So everybody remembers back in the summer, it was between Georgia and Nebraska, and it was real tight. And then he chose Georgia, and then moved to Buford, Gwinnett County, if you're not familiar, where Georgia players go to never come to the University of Georgia. Um, and he's been trying to recruit all of his teammates all year because Buford's like a public private school, so they can actually recruit players in high school. Um, and then this week, with early enrollment starting next week, um, Dylan was crystal balled on Monday night to Nebraska, which when he was making his choice in the summer, it was between Georgia and Nebraska because his uncle coaches at Nebraska. And Matt Rule, through the season, at one point said it costs 1.5 to $2 million to get a good quarterback in today's market. So that kind of tells you what he probably threw at Dylan. Um, it's just
There are
weird.
some yeah, no, there are some reports that it was more than that. Like it may have been closer to three just because they're desperate. And Dylan's dad, Dominic, also I think he was an All-American conference center at Nebraska as well. Is Matt Stafford's center in Detroit for a better part of a decade. So I mean, there's ties to both schools, but obviously it's deeper in out there in Lincoln. But uh, it's just so weird. I mean, we people have said this a lot, and we talked about it when he first committed that he changed high schools or he changed high schools 4 times, moved across the country from Arizona to Buford. Seemingly, that would make you'd think, oh hell, he's not going anywhere. 30 minutes from Athens, and then you know, Price went. It is what it is. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't necessarily decommitted yet, but from all intents and purposes, it seems like he has because Nebraska they told their 4-star quarterback that they had committed for a while that uh they're expecting Raiola to commit, and then um there was one other thing too I forgot. And then Kyle McCord, he took Nebraska off his list as well, so it seems like all
So
signs are pointing toward that happening.
yeah, no, and if he goes to Nebraska, he will play as a true freshman. When he would probably play earliest his sophomore, maybe sophomore, but probably junior year in Athens.
Hmm.
The way that it's currently playing out, I think Georgia's still definitely in the mix because he's been in Lincoln for a few days now,
Yeah.
but he hasn't decommitted from Georgia. He hasn't committed to Nebraska. So there's part of me that almost thinks that he's hoping that the Classic City collective ponies up quite a big number, and and if that's the case, Nebraska would be screwed because they wouldn't have a quarterback next season.
Hmm. That's a very Nebraska thing. Winning without, well, no, I guess they've had good quarterbacks when they're actually winning stuff, but yeah,
Oh, you there?
yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it would just be weird, but I mean, Georgia's quarterback room is stacked, so it's going to be nothing but competition in Athens. When, like I said, in Nebraska, if he goes there, he's day one. Like, there's no
yeah.
questions asked.
Mhm.
Um, so
So he's either in or he's out. I mean, I'm not going to stress either way. We got Pug coming in. I mean, his tape. I
I,
mean, I mean, we're fine.
yeah,
It's whatever.
and you still have Gunnar Stockton, who will be a sophomore
Yeah,
next year. Like, it kind of is what it is.
yeah.
And with the current man, the way college football currently is, you can't be mad at a kid
No.
for for uh, for saying, "Oh, I can make almost $3 million as a freshman. Let's go shuck some corn."
Hmm. Well, I think like Hendon Hooker, right? That was kind of the argument for Carson Beck coming back. If even if he was a late day 2, day 3 pick, he would make more. Like Hendon Hooker signed a 4-year, $5 million contract with Detroit as a third round pick. Can make that in 1 year. Iowa can make a snap,
Yeah.
or at
No.
least what? Yeah. So
Yeah. Is what it is. Whatever you do, um, don't tweet or comment at high school kids
yeah,
because if
please
people
don't.
followed what I did senior year of high school as closely as they follow these kids, bad news. Real bad
I'd
news.
be I'd be in prison.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Um, so moving into a little bit of transfer portal stuff, Jackson Meeks committed to Syracuse following Fran Brown up there. Um, Depending on what they have at quarterback next season, I think that's a good move. I think he has the
Hmm.
ability to be a wide receiver number one with his size speed combination. He's got good hands. He just was never able to break that rotation with all the experience Georgia had. So good for him. And then Marvin Jones Jr. entered the transfer portal, which means every linebacker, outside linebacker from that 2022 class is in the portal. That's kind of wild.
I know, right?
I I wonder if there's almost a change in defensive philosophy that's kind of encouraging this.
Hmm. Yeah, I wonder if he was upset. He was kind of that even like Chaz, played more than him. I don't know. It's an odd thing to lose that entire pos group, but
Yeah, and
again,
one thing
yeah.
Kirby values on defense is experience, but you don't get
Mhm.
experience without playing, so it's kind of a catch 22.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very interested to see what they do
So,
in the portal with outside linebackers now because you have to have depth. Chaz is gone after this year. So either
mhm.
you're playing a bunch of true sophomores starting next season with a gauntlet of a schedule, or you get some experienced guys from the portal. And I think that's probably the direction they're moving in. I mean, there's the guy from Florida um, that's pushed the
Princely
ball
or
to
whatever. Yeah.
Georgia, and maybe some other guys that we don't necessarily know about yet. So that'll be interesting to see as we move forward.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead and jump into some of these bowl games. We're going to run through these pretty quick because, like I said, it is late and we both have to wake up early for work. Um, so I think we're going to talking about four different bowl games just real quick. There's actually like 9 games between Saturday morning and the next time we record, so it'll be a lot of football on this weekend. Let's enjoy bowl season because it is the reason for the season. Um,
Hmm.
and that's spoken as someone whose birthday is just after Christmas, so Christmas is not my favorite. We're talking
Fair.
Georgia Southern 3.5 point favorites versus Ohio over under 48.5. This is the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So Ohio is 9-3 while Georgia Southern 6-6, but Ohio is actually bottom 10 in the country in strength of schedule this year because of how many lesser teams they've played, um, which I thought was pretty interesting that they do have a good record, but they are, you know, 3.5 point underdogs in this game. Um, Ohio is fifth in scoring defense, with Georgia Southern being 94th. Georgia Southern also played, once again, a lot tougher schedule. They played multiple Power Five teams. It's not really a shocker.
Well,
Georgia
and
Southern.
and this and the Sun Belt's probably the best Group of Five conference there is
Oh,
at
absolutely.
this point.
Especially
Yeah.
with all those teams that left the American this year. Sun Belt is some are saying they're next year's fifth Power Five conference.
I I think I'm saying that.
I, especially with Georgia Southern. James
Hmm.
Madison will be bowl eligible next year.
Hmm. Well, they're going bowling too this year,
Yes,
but
but they will be
yeah,
eligible for the conference title game and not be put in a terrible bowl because of stupid NCAA rules.
yeah, yep,
So scoring offense, Georgia Southern 45th, Ohio 98th. So wildly different there. Georgia Southern, as we've seen in a few of their games, especially last year when they beat Nebraska, um, they love shootouts. They have confidence that their offense can win a shootout, um, while Ohio is completely dependent on their defense. But I do think that Davis Brin is able to lead the Eagles to a winning season, getting that seventh win. Um, I am just going to say the money line on this, though, because Ohio's defense is good. I mean, they won multiple, like, they were the Iowa of the MAC this year.
yeah.
So I'm gonna say Georgia Southern money line.
I am gonna agree with you on that. In the over under as well.
I
I do
lost you
feel
for
like
a
Southern's
second.
gonna
What'd you
win.
say?
No, I'm gonna go with you on that money line. Georgia Southern. I don't feel great either way. Georgia Southern can play. I mean, they can be lights out on offense at times, and other times just completely shit the bed. So I mean, obviously they're 6-6 or near that. So kind of goes with the territory. But yeah, money line, the real GSU.
Hail Southern.
Yep, get after that ass.
So moving on to Miami, Ohio. They are playing App State, who are 6.5 point favorites over under 44.5. So Miami is 11-2 after winning the MAC last week. App State 8-5 after losing to Troy in the Sun Belt title game. But App State is favored by almost a touchdown. Once again, the Sun Belt is the superior Group of Five conference. I mean, both both Sun Belt teams that we've talked about so far worse records than the teams that are playing out of the MAC. But decent favorites. This is the Avocado from Mexico Cure Bowl. Take a wild guess at where this game's played.
Um, hmm. Birmingham.
Orlando.
Obviously.
In the
That was
bounce
my second
house,
guess.
actually.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, that's what
Interesting.
ESPN says.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Have they played there before for a bowl? I mean, I don't know. That's weird.
yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
they play like six bowl games at the Citrus Bowl, so or whatever they call it, the camp, whatever place now.
yeah, they're playing in the bounce house in this game. Um, it's gonna be really weird. I think one thing that's probably gonna have an effect on this game. Both the mountains of North Carolina and Miami, Ohio, are not in what you would say warm environments right now, and it's supposed to be in the 70s and humid during this game.
Hmm. Something to keep in mind. Hmm. Did you already
I'm
say what you were picking?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
So just based on what I've seen of these teams this year, and I've actually watched two or three games of both of these teams, App State is a better team. They've just also played better competition. I mean, App State took a ranked, I want to say they were close to the top 10 at the time, North Carolina team to double overtime. And it was a missed pass interference call. That is the reason they lost that game. App State beat a ranked James Madison. I think they win and cover. I think the over might be interesting. I think it really just depends on how I feel on Saturday for that one.
Yeah, I mean, 7 points is more than fair for a team that again played in the best group of five conference. Miami of Ohio is not necessarily a slouch. They did beat Toledo in the MAC championship.
They
Toledo's
also
quarterback,
beat Ohio.
yeah, some are saying they're the best team in the state of Ohio, and they made a conference championship. I don't know about
They won their
the other one.
conference. When's the
Yeah,
last time Ohio State did that? 2020.
yeah, yeah, it had to be.
Didn't even play half a season and won their conference.
Yeah, they won like four games. Good for them. That doesn't count. Bubble championship, Ohio State, the Lakers, the
In
Dodgers,
season
all that.
tournament, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah. Nothing's real anymore. The simulation's just all out of whack. But I'm with you with that. App State, cover that 7. They'll win. Yeah, not super confident in the over under as well. 44.5 isn't like a huge number, but then again, I mean, it's a team from Ohio. I don't know if they can score, but I'll just leave it at that. App State covers and wins.
Um, Miami, Ohio's quarterback is Blaine Gabbert's younger brother. Fun fact.
Hmm. All right, so App State even more.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I think one of the more interesting bowl games of, I would say probably the first half of bowl season is one we're talking about next. That's UCLA, who are 4-point favorites, versus Boise State. Over under 49.5 in this Starco Brands LA Bowl. So UCLA is not traveling whatsoever.
Wow. What did it say what stadium they're in? Because I know obviously they play their home games in the Rose Bowl, but
SoFi.
oh, okay. I don't know how far from Pasadena it is. My California geography is not where it should be.
Um, yeah, same.
But it doesn't matter. They're closer than Boise. That's all that matters.
I'm actually going to Google Map it right now.
But yeah, and I think you started to say it too. UCLA losing their quarterback, half their secondary depth to the portal since the season started or ended, I should say. Chip Kelly has denied all those guys the ability to play in or travel the bowl game, which is, I mean, kind of for the most part common practice at this point for most teams. Like once you say you're in the portal, again, we talked about before, nobody has to, the coaching staff, the school doesn't have to honor your scholarship. So I mean, once you want to dip your toe in the water, you're running the risk of not having anywhere to play. So.
You only need
Uh,
3 inches of water to drown.
that uh, very fun fact. Uh, yes, I'm gonna go UCLA actually to
Ooh.
cover that. Uh, just because it doesn't make any sense.
I,
It's
yeah,
silly season.
it is silly season.
Boise fired their coach too. So I mean, it
They're
no. Does
undefeated
anybody want to
since
be
they
there?
fired their coach,
Yeah,
including a
that's a good
conference
point.
championship.
Hmm.
So according to Google Maps, from the Rose Bowl to SoFi Stadium is 22 miles. If you were to try to drive that right now, it would take over an hour.
LA.
Shit, that's Atlanta too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, so with all of that, I think Boise pulls this out. I think they win outright.
Ooh, okay.
They just played better down the stretch, and they're on a 5 game winning streak. While UCLA lost to Cal in their regular season finale.
Oh
The
wow.
last few games of the season, Chip Kelly was allegedly going to be fired until they beat USC. Their defensive coordinator was still so unsure of Chip Kelly's future that he just dipped out and went across town to USC.
Which that hasn't is that has that been talked about enough though? Like I feel like I that's wild.
I,
Wild.
it makes sense to me. I mean, Lincoln
Yeah.
Riley, they're not going to fire Lincoln Riley.
No, no, no.
They should, but they're not.
Yes.
So, so as long as you're better than Alex Grinch, you're good.
That's not saying much.
If you can keep teams like I don't know Stanford and Arizona State from scoring 30 points, you're a good defensive coordinator for USC.
Hmm. Yeah, so they're still gonna put up 50 points a game.
Well,
Close to it.
they don't necessarily have a quarterback next season, so that'll be interesting to follow too.
Yeah. Not yet.
So speaking of Cal, the team that just kicked the shit out of UCLA in the regular season finale, they're playing your Texas Tech Red Raiders, who are 3-point favorites.
Hmm.
Over under 57.5. That's almost as much as Texas Tech lost to Texas by in the regular season finale.
That's that is true.
Um, for this game, I honestly think it's just going to be hard to watch. If I'm being 100% honest, neither team has been good at any one particular thing all season.
Hmm.
Texas Tech hung around with teams that they shouldn't have. They lost big to teams they shouldn't have. And then when everybody's finally confident at the end of the season, like, oh yeah, they can hang around for 3 quarters with Texas, they didn't hang around for 3 plays with Texas.
They forgot the game even started. Yeah.
I, I don't know if they're a good team. Their quarterback that started the entire season is in the transfer portal, playing for like his fourth university next year.
Hmm.
And I, Cal is almost just as weird. They lost in a barn burner to Auburn, but towards the end of the season, they started to turn it on. I mean, they like I already talked about. They beat UCLA. Um, so Cal's last five, they lost to USC. They lost to Oregon. Then they beat Washington State by 4 points. They beat Stanford by 12 points. And
Hmm.
then they beat UCLA by 26. A
It.
UCLA that had a top 10 defense this season by
Mhm.
26. I don't know. I don't. If
Welcome to my world with Texas Tech. Yeah, there we go.
for for the podcast's sake, I'm gonna take Texas Tech money line just because they're a more talented team. But I I sound as convinced as my voice just made me sound. Like I thought about changing that up until it came out of my mouth.
I I'm gonna regret this, but I'm actually gonna go with Texas Tech to cover that 3 points.
Ooh.
I I want them to make me look bad one more fucking time. Let's go. Just I'm
When you
like,
die, you want Texas Tech
yeah,
players to lower you into your grave so they can let you down one more time.
mhm. Shout out former Texas Tech coach Bobby Knight for that line. Yeah. Yeah, again, don't feel good about it. This game is disgusting. I don't probably won't watch it depending on what time it's at on Sunday. I think it's on
It is
Sunday.
at 9:15 kick in Shreveport.
Oh,
So that's a 8:15 local time kick. And let's
ew.
be what percentage of the stadium is going to be full?
How big is the stadium in Shreveport? It's got to be like what,
Um,
like 30,000?
I'm about to look it up because it's just gross.
I'm gonna say
Independence
less than half. Whatever the number is, it's less than half.
Independence
Because
Street.
nobody.
Ooh, it is 50,000,
Hmm.
not including premium seating.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that nobody from Cal's transfer or is going out there. Uh,
Hell, half the
ex-
team might opt out of this game. Freshmen might opt out of this game.
I I would opt out of this game just as a freaking fan. That's disgusting. That's nasty. Just cancel the game. No one's gonna notice anyway.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, 50,000,
They would be
15,
lucky to get 20. Yeah, I was gonna say they'd be lucky to get 20. Yeah.
50. Yeah. I'm
Even
thinking,
if the tickets were free. I don't know, man.
let's see. Oh, dude. You want to go to Shreveport on Sunday? Tickets are $15.
That's $10 too much. That Oh no, there's no way that they're that much. There's no way.
I, I really feel like if we went, we could be enthusiastic enough to get on TV, though.
They wouldn't have any other choice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Although I do have surgery at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, so that'd be a hell of a drive back.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, you could be literally doing anything and then be able to get on TV. You could be like reading a book, reading the newspaper, typing out the doc.
Oh, what I would do is I would make a big styrofoam pistol and and have it in my hand, like one of those, like the we're number one, but it'd
Yeah.
be a pistol, like a revolver, because they're the Red Raiders. And then in my other styrofoam hand, I would just have like a cloud of smoke, and then I'd put them on each side of my head every time they do something stupid.
Oof.
Yeah.
Or you can even have like a pretend duel. Have someone else
Oh,
have a pistol.
oh, that would be
You have
good.
plenty of room to fall down. I mean, it's beautiful. Like it's almost like they planned it out that way.
Yeah. And no matter what team wins the game, if we win, we would be the two people to rush the field.
The two fans are out in the field, like just like the Cal Stanford game 100 years ago. Not that much, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know it's a short episode tonight, guys, but that is all we have. Try to get through it fairly quick because it is late for us. Um, as we talk about each and every week, follow our social media at nothing.finder.pod on Instagram, at finderpod on Twitter. Just look us up on Facebook and YouTube. Rate and review the show 5 stars. Send us a screenshot. We will send you a sticker. Don't forget to check out the latest merch.
Oh,
Um,
and Bowmania. If you're not
yes,
signed up, do that.
yes, we do have a Bowl Mania group. It's in the Facebook group. I will somebody remind me, and I will put it on our Instagram and that sort of thing as well. Um, but as always, guys, remember there is nothing finer in the land.
Then a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.